Well, week 2 in our message series, I know. Now this word know, we mentioned, is found 32 different times in the letter. John writes so that you and I can be 100% confident about our position in Christ. He writes this so that we can say that I know, again, not with a question mark, but we can say no with an exclamation point. I know. Now week 2, the focus is that we know obedience. So the question is, do you know obedience? Or maybe the better question is, do you want to know obedience? Not a very popular word. Well, 1 John chapter 2, verse 3 says, and we can be sure that we know him if we obey his commandments. So the call on our life, the call for those who follow Jesus, obedience. And again, I think this word obedience is almost like a lost word in our culture, but it cannot be a lost word to those of us who follow Jesus. Listen as John continues, verses 4 through 6. If someone claims, I know God, but doesn't obey God's commandments, that person is a liar. He's being pretty plain, right? He's brutally blunt. And he goes on, he says, and is not living in the truth. But those who, and hear this word again, obey God's word, truly show how completely they love him. This is how we, again, hear this word as well, know we are living in him. Those who say they live in God should live their lives as Jesus did. Let me say that again. Those who say they live in God should live their lives as Jesus did. That's pretty straightforward. So let me ask you, how are you doing with obedience? How are you doing at living as Jesus lived? Why don't you take some time right now and reflect on these verses, on this word, obedience. And would you be honest with yourself and with God and reflecting on how you're doing at obeying God's word? Have a great day.